Hi all, welcome to the ACC's Open Day. My name is Dr. Patrick Sim and I'm President of the ACC. I'll start by letting you know a little bit about why we are here and what is it that drives us to establish a brand new chiropractic college. And really it's about producing great chiropractors. What we need to do that is to ensure that you have great practical skills, you have a great sense of science, and perhaps even most importantly, you have a good understanding of the philosophy of chiropractic. So we have borrowed from around the world to produce a great curriculum. In particular, we have the curriculum from the New Zealand College of Chiropractic. They are strong supporters of ours. And then we've built great academic people around that curriculum to deliver it to you. We have great impact from the profession as well. So a lot of your teachers are chiropractors, local chiropractors, as well as chiropractors from around the country who are here to teach you how to become a great chiropractor. Our supporters are also chiropractors, so all the money we have raised so far has come directly from the profession. So you can have some confidence knowing that the course that you are doing is underwritten by the profession, and that the way we are trying to teach and what we're trying to produce in our graduates is what our supporters are looking for, which means that your ability to practice the chiropractor is improved, your ability to get a job is better. And it's quite unique. So firstly, we are a private institution. We're not in an Australian university, which means that we can focus quite specifically on the delivery of our course. So we are bespoke. You can think of it as we are designed specifically to produce great chiropractors. Every unit that you do within your studies with us is leading you towards your practice skills, not just about knowing things, but how you can actually do them in practice. After all, we're here to produce great chiropractors. We're not here necessarily to produce just students. So we would hope that the input you're getting from the profession will lead you towards that end. The other key focus at the ACC with our curriculum is teaching business skills. As a chiropractor, when you graduate, you'll be working in the private health setting, which means that you have to be able to run a business. So today is about educating you on how we do that. You'll be speaking to a number of people outlining their experience as students or how they're delivering from our faculty, and I'm sure there's a number of questions that you have about the ACC, but I want you to hold on to those because later on we'll be having a Q&A and you'll be able to ask those questions directly to us. So I invite you to hang around for that and I'll see you then.
The college is located in Adelaide's CBD, which makes it really easy to get to and from. Adelaide is also a really affordable city for living, working and studying.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Australian Chiropractic College.
We would have loved if you could be here and join us in person to see our school, but as you can't, we'd love to give you a tour of the campus anyway and show you around.
Cool. So we'll come through here. So this is the Australian Spinal Research Foundation Library.
Hey Charles.
Hey Charles.
So in here we've got a couple of different functions. Over on this side we've got all of the books, so this is where we have textbooks that we can borrow if we haven't purchased our own, or other chiropractic books that we can have a bit of a flick through.
And also, as you can see out there, you can study with a great view, which is obviously a bonus, you know.
Bonus, yeah. In this corner as well we've got where our librarian usually sits. She comes in at the moment once a week to help us with any research questions that we have or any articles that we're trying to find, books, anything that we need from her, and I imagine as we get more students coming in that she'll be here more often as well.
Definitely. So now we'll come through this way.
So we'll head up here into one of our smaller breakout rooms.
Yep. So this is kind of a little group meeting sort of room where you can come and discuss things that you might not know with each other, or you can even have a lecturer come in here and explain to you something that you might not be grasping quite as much as you would like, and yeah, have the real one-on-one explanation, which is super useful.
Absolutely, and as the college grows and we get more students, these little breakout spaces will be really important for group work and bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. So now as we come across the hall in here, this is where all the magic happens really. This is our main lecture room.
The exciting stuff.
Definitely, definitely.
So yeah, we spend heaps of time in here every day, learning sort of more of the science background stuff, all of the lecture on on techniques, and one of the really cool things that I love about this is we have a computer program called Complete Anatomy that we use. I tried to load it up for you guys but couldn't quite get it working, so it's sort of like a three-dimensional anatomy program where you can do layers of bone and ligaments and add tendons and muscles and rotate them, strip them back, look at the real sort of three-dimensional aspect of the body, which is super helpful when you're learning the hard science like anatomy and physiology here.
Definitely. What I love about this room is the setup here. So we've got all the students that can sit around and kind of grasp what the lecturer is saying, and also the props that are available in this room. So for example, a lecturer may use someone to demonstrate some palpation skills or something on, or even where a muscle or a ligament or a joint is on the body, and you can see it like in real time right here, which is super useful, especially if most of the cohort are visual learners. It's a prop that you honestly need and is really important in the profession. Also, we've got props, as you can see around here and on the walls, that the lecturer can use for more demonstration and really showing you what's going on and what they're actually teaching, which is super useful and something that I know is definitely beneficial for my learning.
Yeah, absolutely. So heaps of tools to
Definitely.
help us in our learning here.
So now we come through this way. And now we'll just come around the corner.
So this area here is another one of our study spaces. It's one of my favourite places to study because the desks are huge and you can break away and just sort of catch up on homework. But as the college grows, I think this will be one of the lecture rooms that we're going to have. It's got the board set up there, and so it'll take on a little bit of a different function.
Definitely, and this is also a space where you can, do your own study, individual study. If you have to take an online quiz, you can do it here by yourself and have really no other distractions. And you can also enjoy another nice view out there, which is always handy when you're studying.
Yeah, absolutely. So another versatile space, which is great.
Definitely.
And then if we come along here, we've got our Prac space. So you can see we've got a few different tables lined up there. There are a couple more in the spaces there as well. And what we'd usually do here is break up into small groups. Someone will be on the table and we'd be learning our palpation skills. One of the awesome things about ACC that I love that really sets us apart, I think, is the integrated learning approach that they've got. So from week one, we're out here using our hands, learning how to palpate and identify bony landmarks, and that integrates with learning the anatomy and physiology. So while we're looking at the thoracic spine and all the bones that make it up in the lecture room, then out here we'll be learning to feel them and identify different landmarks and that, which is cool.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, the integrated learning is super important. Like, say if we have an anatomy lecture, literally like half an hour after that, we'll be out here and putting into practice something we've learned, so it's fresh in your memory, which I think is super important, and definitely important when you're like learning the technique and all these sort of things. And it's definitely great to implement those sort of habits right from the get-go, and it's a super way to learn for sure.
For sure. It's a little scary at start, learning how to navigate the human body and learning those palpation skills, but you get used to it super quick.
Definitely. So now as we come along here, it's also like a multi-purpose room, as Thomasine mentioned. So as you can see along here, there's individual desks, and this is where our exams unfortunately take place. But I know everyone knows that you have to do what you have to do, and exams are a part of the course. So yeah, this is where they go down, and yeah, it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, it's a friendly space. We're not in a gigantic hall with thousands of desks and a big ticking clock. It's friendly and approachable and as good as exams can be.
Definitely more friendly than I've experienced before, that's for sure.
This is another space as well that will probably change function a little bit as the college grows, because it does have such sort of a diverse setup, and as we need it for different things. One of the really cool things about being part of a small college is that everything does change quickly and is really adaptable. So if we need it to perform a different function, then we can do that, and it's no hassle, which is great.
Definitely. So as we come through this way, as you can see on the left here is like a private little space where you can just have a rest from study. I've been caught in here napping and on a few occasions, but you can also, take a chair in there and study and just have your own quiet time, which I think is really necessary when you have so much learning every day and stuff.
Yeah, you just need to sleep.
Definitely.
And then this is kind of the exact opposite. This is one of the more scary rooms that we have to face as a student.
Definitely.
This is our Prac exam room. So in here we'd come in, we'd have our lecturers sitting at the table, and then we'd be sort of assessing another student and demonstrating the Prac skills that we've learned. So
Definitely. Oh, it is a daunting room, but it's also a super exciting room where we get to pretty much demonstrate what we've learned through the week and get critiqued on how to be a better chiropractor and a better student. And you can really bounce off the other student, which is great. And I think it's a super important tool to have throughout the entire course, and just be checking the boxes, making sure you're up to where you should be, and yeah, doing exactly what you need to be doing to be the best chiropractor you can be.
thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you here soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I have an undergraduate degree in science, and I'm looking forward to transitioning to chiropractic as my career. One of my core values is to be of service to others, and I think chiropractic is a great way for me to fulfill that.
Hey guys, we're back here in the Prac room. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I'm here with Dr. Ivancic, one of my lecturers. So Dr. Ivancic, did you want to come over and have a chat? Hi.
Hi Thomasine, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Excellent. We've got some people here with us today, so did you
Hello.
want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you came to be at ACC?
Yep, so my name's Dr. John Ivancic. I'm a senior lecturer here at ACC. I teach anatomy and biomechanics. I also help with some of the technique classes. The way I came to be here was Dr. Eaton asked me along to a meeting, and she told me all about the course. Really excited about what she had to tell me. I couldn't help but to say yes to joining the ACC, so I'm really happy to be here.
Absolutely, and we appreciate it. And what about your experience before joining the college?
So I graduated in '91 as a chiropractor. I taught for a few years at university, both at New South Wales and Macquarie University, both in chiropractic and non-chiropractic courses, anatomy, technique, and was in private practice and still am in private practice. So it's been about 30 years in private practice. Short teaching career, but hopefully another teaching career now at ACC. So really looking forward to continuing teaching, and especially at ACC.
Yeah, fantastic. So
Yeah.
since you graduated 30 years ago, I'm sure we'd all like to know what's changed in that time.
Okay, well, a few things have changed. Technology's obviously gotten very much more advanced than it was 30 years ago. So we have a lot of technology incorporated in our course. The principles, philosophies really have not changed all that much. They're still true to the core principles that I learnt back 30 years ago. Technique has changed a little bit, so we'll incorporate some new techniques in the course. Obviously, the technology will help us deliver the core content and the basic sciences. But essentially, you know, helping people 30 years ago is still helping people today, and hopefully ACC can promote chiropractors that still want to do that same thing that we did 30 years ago. So yeah, hopefully it's going to help you guys graduate as great chiropractors.
Yeah, I hope so. And in terms of your career, what is it that you love about chiropractic that's kept you going in this profession for so long?
Yeah, look, I think the fact that you can help people, the fact that this is a healing profession, drugless, people really appreciate when you are helping them in that way. You get to see a variety of people, you get to engage with a lot of people, you meet some very nice people and relationships, and I think seeing the changes you make in people's lives on a daily basis is what keeps you going. It's just that one time that you can help someone that makes you feel good about what you're doing and good about chiropractic and keeping the chiropractic treatment and the dream alive, basically. So that's part of why I'm at ACC too, because I want to give back to the college and the profession through teaching.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, it's fantastic to have you on board. So thank you so much for answering my questions and for your time.
You're very welcome.
All right, let's go join the others.
Thank you. See ya.
I really want to be a chiropractor to make profound changes in people's lives. I was fortunate enough to be a chiropractic assistant and a patient. My family's been under chiropractic care, and I feel like this is a really great way to make great impact in people's lives through their health.
I am your academic dean at the ACC, Naveen Hayworth. So I wanted to introduce you to an important component of the program here at the ACC, and this is the work integrated learning component, or otherwise referred to as a clinical education component. So we want to make sure that our students who graduate have the necessary clinical, professional and business skills required out there in the industry. To do this, we have embedded work integrated learning from the start to the finish of our program. All of our students will be assigned mentors, both faculty and profession-based, to assist in their student learning journey. Students will undertake clinical placements in downtown, urban, rural and international settings to serve various members of the community. We have partnered with industry that includes sporting teams and even the private practitioner so that students can get the real authentic clinical learning experience. We want to make sure that this is a very student-centered learning environment that will also include an evidence-informed, patient-centered clinical learning program so that you are set up appropriately for industry requirements. Thank you for your time.
I'm really excited to be a part of the Australian Chiropractic College because it has a great curriculum which focuses on the philosophy, the science and the art of chiropractic. From day one we get great mentorship from the practicing chiropractors that are involved in the college.
and that's it. Very close relationship with our profession, with the chiropractic profession, to the point that we're actually fully funded by chiropractors. We haven't been given any money by the government. It's all come out of the pockets of chiropractors. So we are of the profession. We are chiropractors making this college to produce great chiropractors. It's all come out of the pockets of chiropractors. So we are of the profession. We are chiropractors making this college to produce great chiropractors. I'm hearing some feedback. I just wonder if you guys might be able to just switch. What we're looking at here now is a map of the program, as it were. It's 5 years in total, with 1 year of university level science required as an entrance into the bachelor program. So that prerequisite year can be done at a number of places. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but we do have an arrangement with Charles Darwin University who offer a diploma in health science, which covers off on all our prerequisites. So when we look at how our program is, again, different to other programs, we have a certain set of values and we have a certain view around chiropractic. And as we move from year 1 right the way through to year 5, you'll notice that our program diverges significantly from some, okay, and away from others. So if you're looking at transferring from an existing program, we'll find that most students who have done first year at another program can transfer relatively easily over to ACC. But as they go into year 2 and year 3, then they need to do more units to make up that time. Now, Sally and Danny and Associate Professor Hayworth can talk to you in more detail about that process. But this diagram just shows that we are very, very different and we have a very clear view on what chiropractic is. When we talk about the expertise associated with ACC, we have a number of them. What I've listed here are just the chiropractors associated with our course, and you notice a lot of them have PhD after their names. In fact, we are the only chiropractic program in Australia who is headed up, whose academic arm is headed up by a PhD academic. And so that's Associate Professor Naveen Hayworth. She's then taken on a number of chiropractors to help in delivering the course. So David Hanna has international experience. He's been an educator for decades. He's been teaching technique most recently. Kim Davis, again, a lot of experience, particularly in sports chiropractic. He's been taking on philosophy. John Avancic, you met on the virtual tour. He's been looking after anatomy and biomechanics. Dr. Paul Noon, PhD. He's been teaching students neuroscience. Dennis Richards, PhD, who has been involved in the philosophy as well. And then we have John Kelly, who ran the Sydney College for a very long time and is very well known, very well respected within the profession. So when I say that we are the profession teaching students how to become chiropractors, this is a perfect example of how that's happened. We also then have our professional team. Some of you may have spoken already with Sally and Danny. They're in charge of the process of bringing students along the pathway to enrolment and then looking after you once you're here. So you'll be communicating with Sally and Danny quite a lot over the next few months. Mark McAllister, you've met. He's our general manager. He's great at organising all of us. And Jane Shute is our financial officer, so you'll be spending some time with her every now and again as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about the experience of being a student at ACC. This is the students that we took in this year, and I just want you to have a look at them. Look at these really serious faces. They're all pretty nervous. This is our very first meeting at orientation, beginning of this year. So we went from this day, or from this meeting, and we took them away on a camp. And the idea of this camp here is to break down some of those barriers, get to know each other, but also give our students an insight into what it's taken to get the ACC up and going, and a bit more about chiropractic, what chiropractic is, and our view of chiropractic. So it just sets the scene for how ACC views the world. We push people too. It's personal development. So we had all of our students jumping from about 20 or 30 metres up in the air to try and jump onto that tiny little handlebar there. But we also do the science. So here we have John Avancic, who's teaching postural analysis, break down some of those barriers, get to know each other, This is Chris Hume Phillips. Chris has been around for a very long time. Again, I'm getting some feedback there, Mark. He also looks after a number of animals. Here he's adjusting a little puppy. There's a wide scope when it comes to chiropractic, which is why it's such a great profession. There are chiropractors who deal just with babies. There are chiropractors who look after just the older population. There are chiropractors who look after sports people and animals. There's such a range of opportunities for you as a chiropractor. We also engage strongly with our students, and we like to flip the classroom. So here we have a couple of our students who've gone away, they've researched something, and then it's their job to teach everyone else what they have learned. And by this way, our students are bringing out their own knowledge and their own expertise, and we're already getting them the idea of being professionals. Talking about professionals, we've had 2 very large events on campus. We call that Concordia. It's an annual event. We bring the whole profession in, and we spend a weekend enjoying chiropractic and dipping ourselves in the philosophy. We follow this up with feedback sessions where we've asked the profession to give us their input on how else we can improve the ACC, its curriculum, and how we go about our business. So remember that first photo I showed you of those students all spread out, those serious faces? This is 2 days later, okay? On the left here, we have our first cohort that came in 2020. Unfortunately, we taught for 8 weeks, shut down, but they've joined in now with these guys over here on the right, and it's been quite remarkable watching them all gel together. So you can see we're a very close unit. We're about small classes and high quality. And again, that's how we're different to a university, which have much larger intakes of students. So, and that. I suppose first I should stop here and see, are there any questions that you guys have about what I've just presented? If you do, make sure you unmute yourself. Great. Okay, well, maybe I can introduce to you Dr. Naveen Hayworth, Associate Professor Naveen Hayworth, I should say. And I should also say that it was 2 weeks ago, Naveen, I think, you're formally your PhD. Oh, 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. Well, again, I can't stop congratulating you. It's such a milestone achievement, so well done. So perhaps, Naveen, you can just explain to our guests the integration of our course.
Okay, well, thanks all for attending. So I'm just going to, you've already seen the video where I explained the work integrated learning. So really, the work integrated learning is part of that integration. So what we have done with our program is we have purposely designed what we think our graduate capabilities should be for each of our graduates that makes them appropriately prepared for their profession. From that, we have worked backwards through our program, through a vertical integration. So looking at in the final semester, what our students should be learning and engaging with, and then working that backwards from there on to when they start in our program. So instead of just having semester after semester of certain units that are put in there to make sure that we're meeting our accreditation requirements, we're also looking at that vision, that image of what our graduate is and what we want them to be. So purposely designing our program around that. Now, as you heard from our students earlier, we also have an element of horizontal integration. So what that means is when you start off at the start of the week with your very heavy science-based units, such as anatomy and such, and biomechanics, we make sure at the end of the week when you have your technique component, that it is integrating what has been learned in anatomy and biomechanics, and now we are doing the hands-on application of assessing that in a technique program on the Friday. So we've really tried to purposely build this so it is providing relevance, it keeps our students motivated and engaged. Furthermore, we've started off with students engaged with the profession from the start of the program. So usually students commence with their clinical program in the last 18 to 24 months, and that's where they find that they say, oh, now I need to act like a professional. Well, we want to make sure that students learn how to act like a professional from year one, semester one. So we integrate our students with the chiropractic profession through our work integrated learning so they can learn about their community of practice through legitimate peripheral participation in their profession. So we've purposely done this, scaffolding our will program, starting with observation and then working further up to where they have a hands-on application in year 3 of the program. So from year 3 to completion of the program. So we've really tried to make sure through all units and all streams where we're presenting you with the clinic, the business, the philosophy, and the clinical aspects, that it is vertically and horizontally integrated. Back to you, Patrick.
Thanks, Naveen. So you have an expert here in Naveen Hayworth. Naveen ran the RMIT program and was also heavily involved in the osteopathy program at RMIT, or was it VU?
At Victoria University.
At VU. So she's been heavily involved in this component of integrating with the profession. Her PhD had a lot to do with that, as well as identity and how important it was to be clear about what it is that a chiropractor is. And that's what we'll be focusing on in our course. I'd also like to introduce to you one of our students. Beth, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Beth. So Beth joined us from RMIT in our first intake in 2020. And so not only did she have to deal with COVID-19 and us going into hibernation, she was one of the absolute first pioneers. Beth, I just wondered if you might be able to share your experience and how ACC might be different to what you've had in the past.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from Canberra. I moved to Melbourne to start my chiropractic degree at RMIT. And so that's where I did my first year. And then I heard about the ACC opening up in Adelaide and, yeah, basically transferred down to Adelaide to be at ACC. And the main reasons, I suppose, that I wanted to be at ACC was like what Dr. Hayworth was just saying. There's the mentorship program, as well as the course is just way more comprehensive. So at ACC we do, I think it's sort of about 6 to 8 subjects per semester, whereas at RMIT or most other uni courses it's 4, which means that I felt like I was missing out on a lot of things. So at ACC we get taught about business, we do psychology, learn about pediatrics. To me, to be the chiropractor that I wanted to be, it just made sense to be at ACC as opposed to RMIT.
Thanks, Beth. I had to make sure I wasn't on mute there. So the ACC offers something different. It's not necessarily trying to be better, but we think that it's very important that you come out and you can practice straight away, and that you know how to operate within a private health setting. Chiropractors can't work in the public health system, so you have to understand what it's like in private business, and therefore having the skills really sharp as soon as you come out is really important to that. I'm just going to share screen again, and we'll come back and talk to Naveen and Beth in just a moment. Where is my... Can you guys still see that screen? Good, okay. So this is how the course looks in year 1. So as Beth was saying, there's a number of units that you'll need to get through initially. It's very intense, but it's very important that we get through these units in that first year. You'll see that there's anatomy, there's philosophy, immunology, biomechanics, and skills straight away, as well as professional practice, evidence-based chiropractic, and pathology. So we are straight into it. Beth and her colleagues have been right into Gonstead, diversified, and they start terminal point technique in a few weeks' time. So again, we're straight into technique types as well in their very, very first year.
Patrick, you might want to stop sharing screen and share again because we're still just seeing that last PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, in fact, we don't necessarily... what are you saying now? Sorry. No.
The PowerPoint that says Australian Chiropractic College.
Oh, still, okay. Maybe I'll just stop. Has that stopped now?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we can see, I won't even necessarily go to full screen here. So that's semester 1, okay? If you come straight into the course, this is what you will be dealing with straight away. If you're transferring from another program, then of course we'll look at your transcript and see where you have some RPL. My guess is there are some things you're going to have to do again, do the first time, like philosophy and our technique, because we get straight to those hands-on skills straight away. To go through the course structure a little bit more, here, this diagram sort of shows, classically a curriculum might have these vertical subjects that you need to do. At ACC, we've tried to bring those into 2 streams. So there's a pathology anatomy stream, and then there's a philosophy stream. And as Naveen was saying, we're trying to make sure that these things are, we're all talking about the same stuff week by week. And so that culminates at the end of the week in the practical skills stuff that you're going to be doing. And so we do that right the way through the semester. In terms of entry requirements, then at year 12, there's not necessarily anything that you have to do, but our recommendation is that you do some chemistry, PE, biology, and physics. That just makes the prereqs a little bit easier for you. There's no ATAR, so you don't have to get a score at year 12 to get into ACC, but you do need to get an appropriate score to get into a science course that can offer you these prerequisites. At the university level, then these are the prerequisites that are required. There's anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. There's biochemistry, microbiology, and biophysics. Now, we've organised with Charles Darwin, as I mentioned before, to offer all of those units in its standalone 1-year diploma course. So we have a number of students who have already done that and are currently doing it. And it's a very easy transition then to go to the Charles Darwin course and then come straight to ACC. Although it's not part of ACC, we try and provide some mentorship and guidance as much as we can. But there are other options as well. So there are non-award courses you could do through your local university, or there are online providers like Straight Align. In terms of fees, it's $13,000 a semester full-time, but we have now got access to fee help, which works very similarly to HEX. I should let you know too that there's a ceiling when it comes to your HEX/fee help loans at about $104,000, and ACC's full fees just sit underneath that. But if you've done some prior study, then you might find there's a shortfall. And if that's the case, then we can talk to you about your options in dealing with that. We've also applied for Cca Accreditation. That's the professional accreditation. We had them do a site visit last week, and whilst we haven't got their full report back yet, their informal report was that we're exceeding their expectations. We've also passed the self-evaluation report quite comfortably, and so things are progressing very smoothly as far as CCA goes. So let me just see if I can stop. Okay, good. So I might, what questions do you guys have, Naveen, and perhaps particularly Beth, about her experience and what she's found here? No questions? If you do have a question, just remember you might be on mute. Okay, well, Sally, are you and Danny there?
Yes, we're here. Hi, Patrick. Hi, everybody. Hello.
So it's important that you guys get to know Sally and Danny. Danny's role is to talk to people who are interested in studying at ACC and then helping them in the process of applying and gathering all their information on all those sorts of things. And she's very good at it. So think of her as your chiropractic careers counsellor. At a certain point, when it moves to the enrolment stage, that's when Sally will take over. So Sally's position is our academic services manager. So she will help you through the enrolment process. And then once you're a student with ACC, she'll be your go-to person in terms of looking after you on campus. Sally, Danny, is there anything you guys want to say?
Just if anybody's got any questions about their prerequisites or entering ACC, feel free to, if you don't want to ask now, then get in touch with us straight after this session. Danny will be on the phone if you want to give her a call and ask any questions that have come up for you.
Great. Okay. I just noticed Naveen has offered for you to put any questions to her via email. So her email is in that chat box. And similar, if you have any other questions and you find being on a Zoom or a Microsoft Teams chat is a little bit too confronting, that's quite okay. You can contact any of us in any other way that you feel more comfortable. Well, just see if there's any other questions that have popped up. Feel free to use the chat box if you had a question. Okay, well, I'll take that silence as we're all good. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mark, for organising. Thank you, Associate Professor Hayworth and soon-to-be chiropractor Beth and Sally and Danny for your help and your input. I look forward to hearing from you all very, very soon. Thank you very much.